Hello everybody, welcome back to the Advanced Vape channel. Today we're going to be looking at part 3 of our series on 25mm RTAs, and this one is going to be more of a direct head-to-head competitor with the Griffin 25, and that is the HERAKLES RTA2. So they made two versions of this RTA. One has 4 airflows, and I'll show you what I mean when I'm looking at the build deck, and the other has 2, and this is the one with 2. And from looking at the other one, I haven't tried it, but I would vastly prefer this design, so that's why I never bought the original one, not the RTA2. And so that's what I'm doing the review on, is the second one, because I feel like that's probably the best one, and I've heard the same thing from a lot of people, so not even going to try the first one. We'll take a quick look at the packaging. It's just a pretty standard case, similar to the Griffin 25. It comes with the tube that the replacement glass is around. I like this little holder tube, and it has all kinds of goodies. It has like an extra center post, which I've never seen before. And of course the bag of O-rings and everything. Extra center post and a large screwdriver to adjust the post, I guess. And an adapter to use your own drip tip, that kind of thing. So fairly good for the included stuff, but you know, pretty standard, nothing outrageous in there. Instructions are pretty light. So for the sake of fairness, I'm going to be doing the same build on this that I did on the Griffin 25. So I've already got the build on here. I've had this one on for a little while. This is a staple coil build, and it's the exact same as the one on the Griffin 25. I'll put a picture in showing what this build looked like when I first put it on there. Okay, so on the original HERAKLES RTA, there was an airflow here, which is like sort of blocked by the post, other side, and blocked by the post here. So 4 total. I'm not really sure why they put airflows under the posts, but whatever. On this one, there's just 2 big kind of kidney-shaped airflows, and there's also 2 absolutely massive wicking channels, and that's like the big feature for this tank for me, is those wicking channels. That is everything to me for this particular tank. This also has like an adjustable pin where you can rotate it around, but I'm not really sure why you would do that. I wouldn't do that. I'm guessing it can allow you to do some kind of unique builds in there, but I'm not really interested in that. I'm going dual coil. So I'm going to go on a wick it real quick and show you what is different about this wicking style than the Griffin 25 and tanks like it. I'm going to be using cotton bacon, which is the same wick that I used in the Griffin 25. But I think you'll see pretty quickly that it is way easier to wick this than the Griffin 25. Okay, so I'm just going to pull it down and put my scissors underneath this ring there to get a rough idea where I want it, and cut. Okay, so now comes the part that is kind of tricky to do well on Griffin style tanks, and is the most important for getting performance out of them. But that's where these 2 tanks really take different paths. So this one, because these channels are so huge, I kind of just stuff it in there. And I'm going to cut a little bit more off of there. And that's it, I'm done. I generally leave just a little bit of an air gap right in the middle there, but super easy. And done. That's really about as easy as wicking on an RTA like this that I've ever seen. So even, you know, about the same amount of time that it takes to do the Conqueror, so those two are both really super easy. And if you use high performance builds and you gotta re-wick it every, you know, 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, then having to do this is not that big a deal. But trying to wick the Griffin 25 can be a little bit annoying to get it just right. And so for me, I like it to be really high performance. So getting it just right takes more concentration or time or whatever to get it how I want it to be. And this one is just kind of, I don't know, it's brain dead easy. I'll put it that way. Now I'm just going to do one last double check that the channel is totally sealed. If you put too little wick in here, it will leak, because that's a really big channel in there. Alright, I think we're good. And no problems fitting big builds on this. It's going to be the same for any of the 25mm RTAs. You can fit all kinds of stuff in there. So as you can see, we have two really big wicking ports in there. And I normally just keep them wide open. Close them now. Top fill works the exact same as Griffin 25, that kind of thing. Just unscrew the top, fill it up. And of course you want to make sure you have those wicking ports closed when you're refilling it. Like these other 25mm tanks, it holds a really pretty enormous amount of juice, so I normally don't fill it all the way up just because I change flavors quite a bit. As you can see, we have a really big drip tip here, bigger than the Griffin 25 by quite a bit. I'm going to go on and turn it up to about 74, 75, which is where I had the other one at. This one, because of this huge drip tip, it seems to have more airflow than the Griffin 25 by just a little bit, and I thought the Griffin 25 was really airy, so I generally kind of tighten this down just a little bit. It has four airflows, but as you saw in the build deck, they kind of channel into those two under coil air. So let's go on and give it a shot. Really intense, almost kind of slap you in the face kind of flavor. Because that drip tip is so big, it's sort of a dripper sort of feel to it, and I don't really have any need to do any kind of fancy wicking techniques like I do on the Griffin with the air channels. kind of just stuffed it in there, made sure that it wasn't super packed in there, and that's it. And it just performs well. As you can see, really big clouds off of the staple build that I have in there, and really strong flavor. I'm going to go ahead and try putting on the little drip tip adapter. This drip tip unscrews. And this is actually the drip tip off of the Conqueror that I really like. And I'm going to put that on there and see how it compares, having the airflow just a little bit closer to the Griffin 25. Just a sort of different flavor experience. I wouldn't say less flavor, but it tastes different. Obviously less airflow, and it just feels kind of channeled in a different way. Not as wide open, not as airy, but I would expect that with a smaller drip tip, obviously. I would say overall, I would still prefer the drip tip that it comes with, even though it's super airy. But for people that like to use their own drip tips, it's still a good option. I know that on some tanks, when you put your own drip tip on there, it just kills the flavor. And on some drip tips on here, it will do that. But one that's kind of wide open like this, and it's angled kind of outward, kind of makes a cone, it doesn't do that for me. Overall, I'm really impressed with this tank, and head-to-head against the Griffin 25, the flavor is about equal, maybe this one taking it by a little bit, but the big thing is that wicking difference. It's so much easier to wick this, and with the tanks being so similar in the build style and the performance and everything, it's got to come down to factors like that. So overall, I think I would rate this higher than I would the Griffin 25. This can't do single coil like the Griffin 25, but I don't really like single coil in these big tanks anyway. I tend to go dual coil. So that's not a big deal for me, but for other people it might be. I'll take a couple more hits and we'll wrap this up. Yeah, on the whole, just really impressed with this, and I'm impressed with the Griffin 25 too. So I'm not saying that that's bad, but out of these three, I think I would rank it this being the highest, Griffin 25 being a fairly close second, and the TF RTA being somewhere in the back there. Not a bad tank, the TF RTA, but not really in the same league as these two. As you can see in the back here, I've still got the Avocado 24 that we're going to be giving away on our channel. So if you haven't checked out that giveaway video while it's still running, check it out. And I'm also going to be doing one more video, I think, in this series. I thought I would just be doing 3, but I think I'll do another one with the Boreas. And if you're on the forums at all, you'll know that this Boreas is just all over them. Everybody loves this thing. And so I'm going to talk about that and why people love it and why I really like it. And we'll do that on another video kind of in this series on these big tanks. This one is 25mm too, I believe. So that'll bring us to the end of this video about the HERAKLES RTA2. If you like this video, give us a like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments or send me an email. Thanks.